Okay, we're recording, and I just want to say how great it is to see all of you. And we've been praying for you and your communities that you're responsible for, your churches. And I'm really excited to be able to share resources. That's a big part of this group. We get together, we pray together, and we share resources of ways that we can help our community. And I thought this morning for our first clergy breakfast, and I say that because I just read an article this morning that says California is probably going to be on lockdown for a little bit longer. So I'm thinking we'll probably have another clergy breakfast like this. It's very, very possible. So I thought for today, maybe we want to do something different next time, and I'm totally open to your suggestions. But today I thought we would share these questions. I'm going to share my screen. And okay. So I thought what we do is go around the tables and share your name of your church or agency or organization in case there's somebody here who is listening on the phone and cannot see us. And also how you are being affected by this stay in place order, how you're being affected by this pandemic. And also, do you have any information or resources that would be helpful to our group, our community? And then how can we be praying for you? Because by now you may know somebody who has had the virus, or may even know of somebody who knows somebody who's lost somebody to the virus. I hope there's nobody super close to you, but as the numbers proliferate, it's going to be more and more possible that you might know somebody. And I think even I saw Joyce just joined us, and I know she had a family member that's already been lost to COVID-19. So I'm going to tell you, let's see, the order I see on my screen, and that's just the order we'll go in. So I guess I'll start. I see my name, and then I see Bill Zacconi, and I see Jeff. So you'll be third. Mark, and I guess Mark, do you want to go separately, or do you want to go with me?
I'll go with you.
We'll go together.
Okay. I'll do this chat.
And then I see Mike, and then George, and then Dave Shorey, and then Rosa, and then Sarah, and then Brian, and Joyce. And I don't see Lydia on here. Oh, there she is. Lydia's before Mike. Okay. So Lydia's muted, camera and mic, but maybe she can come on and say a few words when we call on her. So I will give it a start. I'm Anne, and that's Mark. We're sharing the same microphone from Cornerstone Community Church, and the way that we've been affected, mostly, as being pastors, we've been doing a ton of online Zoom meetings. We've been watching church a lot more. We probably do 4 or 5 church services a weekend now, watching all of our friends. I joined my mom's church in Colorado, and we've picked up some people that have been off the radar, and they've been joining us for church. And we've just been trying to be, we still have a little community in our house because we have, my husband and I live here with our son, and then we have a renter, and she and her fiance work for Amazon. So they're out every day delivering packages. And so he's been over here since the beginning. He basically lives here except for sleeping. So there's really 5 of us that do community here. So we're not super alone. We have a lot going on. We can play a card game if we wanted to. So I do think of the people who are absolutely alone, and we try to reach out. We've broken our congregation down. We've got everybody being called, broken down into groups, and had our leaders calling everybody so that we know that people are not despairing, and that they have enough toilet paper and all the essentials. I've been trying to organize some community groups on our street and on the Nextdoor app so that we can reach out to people and combine our resources. But I haven't gone out and done anything like a food bank or anything. I saw the Lions Club was out there and some others. So I'm excited to hear what you're doing and see if there are ways that we can get some of our members helping in that way. We've been just trying to get our members motivated to go out and prayer walk their streets and do different things that make them feel like, give them structure schedule and some purpose. So do I have any information to share? I don't know that I have anything that would be of great help. We're just trying to do some creative things on our street and reaching out to our street, which maybe that will be helpful later. How can you be praying for us? I guess the biggest prayer would be just that we can manage our time well during this stay-at-home order and really make a difference in ways and not waste any time. But some of that is just resting, which is, I think, a new mandate for all of us to just kind of change our schedule and take a deep breath and kind of hit the reset button. So I think prayer just for time management would be my prayer. Do you have a request or anything to add to all those points?
No, that would be it. Yeah.
You can chime in if you think of something else. Okay. Next on my screen, I have Bill Zacconi, and I'm so glad to see you because we haven't seen you for a while at the actual physical clergy breakfast. So go ahead and unmute your mic, which it looks like you have, and go ahead and feel free to share.
Okay, I'm Bill Zacconi, and I'm representing Interfaith Shelter Network. I'm no longer employed there, but I stayed on as a volunteer. And just some of the things that are going on with Interfaith Shelter is due to the pandemic, they had to close the shelters. They just could no longer continue operating them at the churches. It was just putting way too many people, at risk. So the case managers really stepped up to the plate, and they actually found housing for just about everybody who was in the program. There was one or two, they were able to get them into another shelter, but they said they didn't want to go, so they ended up going to the street, but that was by their choice. The other programs are still up and running. The El Nido, which is the transitional living project for women of victims of domestic violence, as well as there's two other programs, what used to be referred to as rapid rehousing. It helps people who are homeless to actually get into housing by helping them pay the initial deposits and move-in costs. And that's still going. They're still placing people through that. And there's another new program that Interfaith Shelter became involved with. It's actually, they're working as a subcontractor for Salvation Army. And what it's doing is it's people that are on the edge. It's helping them financially from keeping them from becoming homeless. People that are maybe just, can't pay their rent this month, and if they don't pay, they'll be evicted. So they step in and take care of some of these needs to prevent them from going homeless. One bit of good news is for the El Nido project, which is the apartment complex for the women of domestic violence. They just recently got approximately a $500,000 grant from the Zabel Foundation to repair the facility, because the facility was getting old and needed a lot of repair. And that $500,000 is going to go a long way to new plumbing, new electrical, and actually bringing the building up to decent standards. And then in terms of next year's rotational shelter program, everything is still up in the air, just depending on how this how the virus goes, and to see if we can be back in business again by next season. And that's about it.
That's awesome. How can we be praying for you, Bill?
Well, just continue to pray for Interfaith Shelter Network that they can keep moving forward, and especially for the rotational shelter program to be able to be up and running again for next season. Because that's actually kind of running those shelters is really a great thing, and it just gets more people off the street and gets them back into more permanent housing. I can't hear a word you're saying.
Sorry. I was hitting
Okay.
I thought I was hitting my space bar to just, by the way, that's a little, you can just hit your space bar and hold it down for however you want to talk and lift it up and it will stay muted. So that's a little trick.
Oh,
And by the way, I did want to mention that if you would like to chat,
I have a question that you want to
or like a question that you want to ask, you can just open your chat room. If you don't know where that is, it's on the menu bar. It's a little bubble, it says chat. And Mark will be manning the chat room. Just if you want to chime in with something, but don't want to flag everybody down or interrupt. And I will also try to take notes in the chat room as well so that we can send out notes to those who weren't able to make it. I was kind of hoping to have maybe some of our bivocational pastors that we haven't seen at the clergy breakfast join in. But maybe because the relationship isn't there, as they've actually not been to a breakfast, they wouldn't feel comfortable hopping on a Zoom call, but we'll work on them. We'll maybe do some phone calls and see if we can get some of them on who might be staying at home and able to come to the clergy breakfast for the first time. So next on my screen, I have Pastor Jeff. So Pastor Jeff, do you want to unmute your mic? And Bill, go ahead and mute your mic.
Sure. Can you hear me? All right. Pastor Jeff, pastor at First Baptist Lemon Grove. Much like what you said, Ann, in regards to your church and probably many churches, doing all that we can with live stream stuff, Zoom events with our different groups of people and organizations and ministries within the church. And so that continues on, and we're learning how to do that and be more effective about that. Yeah, I'm at home, and my wife and daughter, they're trying to keep me down as much as possible. But I still have to go to the church from time to time to do some things. In regards to any information, our preschool is still open. I guess preschools have been deemed essential in a sense, and many of our preschool children are still coming. And I know that our preschool is working with licensing and some agencies or whatever to help in the area. If there are some, I think, first responder families that have children that are in need of preschool, that they're working with our school, and I'm sure others as well to help out in any way that we can, as long as we have the amount of space and teachers and things of that nature. So we're glad that we can help in that regard. And of course, we pray for our preschool teachers that are there with the kids. They've reduced the amount of kids that each adult can have, and that's understandable. So, but we're working through that, and that's a good thing. And we're glad we can help the community in that small way during this time of change. How can you pray for us? Well, my youngest daughter, she had her first baby boy, our second grandson, last Thursday. And in the weeks leading up to that, we were anticipating not being able to see our grandson, our new grandson, for a month or 2 months or however long. And through all of that, though initially hours before the birth, my daughter told her mother that she thought she and her husband were going to just have one child after all that she was going through. But now she's beginning to think that maybe down the line she'll want more children. That's a little joke. But anyway, Saturday when they came home from Grossmont Women's Center, the hospital, whatever, they asked the pediatrician as they were leaving if my wife Crystal could come and move in with them and help take care of the baby. So Crystal was able to do that. And so we're rejoicing that my wife gets to be with our daughter and her husband there and spend a lot of time with her second baby grandson. And so pray for me that my daughter and I, we can get along together without my wife being here to referee between the two of us. That's a little joke too. But anyway, God is blessing, and we're just looking forward to what we can do in the community through telephones. I don't know about the rest of you. I'm going through my my contact list on my phone, and I'm calling anybody and everybody I can. If I haven't talked to them for years, that's no problem. I just talked to a lady who used to serve a man and I who do Bible study at a restaurant that's no longer open, like all of them, and just to check on a lady who is our waitress. So I want to encourage all of you, if you have extra time, and a lot of people do, call up your friends, and people up and down the street that I have phone numbers for, I'm calling them. So it's just a great opportunity this time to reach out through these different ideas and ways, and be a blessing to others and be blessed as well. So that's about it, Ann.
That is awesome. Not about your grandson being born. Congratulations. So that's 2 for you right now, right?
That's true, yes.
Awesome. Very good. And so you're cooking for yourself. Is that what I understand?
Well, yes, my daughter and I, we talk about what we're going to cook for the meal tonight, and so she's pretty. If I eat something that I'm not supposed to eat, or it's not in the line of when we're supposed to eat it, I get told by her. So anyway, we're getting along. We're doing fine.
That's good. Awesome. Well, that's great to find out what's going on in your life, and what a great idea to call just about everybody that's in your Rolodex, right? Do we have Rolodexes? Everybody in your contact list. So, all right, Jennifer Mendoza, I have you next on my list. So go ahead and unmute your mic and share with us. Oh, she does have a Rolodex. Look at that. Bring it out. Way to go.
I also have to show you guys my phone.
It's an antique.
This is my office phone.
Oh, wow. Jennifer.
It's a princess phone from the 1970s.
Wow, you
All
got
these-
a little.
So Jennifer Mendoza, Lemon Grove City Council member, and then also a member of St. John's Cross here in Lemon Grove. So how am I being affected? I'd say the first week was really rough for me, because I'm used to just being out and about and doing so many things, and my whole routine was just shot. And I know for all of us, we all feel this. Actually going to, your church service is so, I don't know, it's such an important part of your spiritual well-being. And that was really hard for me. I was really down and depressed about that, and not being able to go or take communion. And at first I could at least go into my church and pray, but now the church is also locked. And so I have been finding myself sitting outside my church now. But I'm a very positive person. And so I just kind of smacked myself in the head and said, snap out of it. And, just keep doing what you're doing. And so I've gotten very good on Zoom, and almost all of my clubs that I belong to we're doing Zoom. That includes book club, film club. On Fridays, my girlfriends and I have like a little happy hour thing that we're doing on Zoom. And so it's been a great way to be connected. And then I've got my husband here, and his son has actually been living with us since October. And mainly, I have to keep John in place. He's 76, and I just don't want anything to happen to him. And so Jim has been a big help for us being here. And so even I think more so now, because it gives John someone to talk to besides me all the time. Information and resources, I did want to share at St. John's, our food pantry continues to operate every Tuesday from 9 a.m. till noon. And we have had an uptick in people, but we're not running out of food. It seems to be going well. What's sadly, like a lot of our volunteers were, in their late 60s, early 70s. And so they have decided that they can't help anymore, which is understandable. So the Lions Club has stepped in, and we have some younger people at the church stepping in, including Rose's son, Adam, came a couple weeks ago, and Steve Brown's son, Ethan. And they they were just the best little helpers ever. So I hope to get them back over there too and helping out. We pick up food on Monday, and that's, you know, I can't pick those boxes up anymore, and I don't want my husband to do it either. So that's been really helpful. And then Sarah and her girls have been coming and helping me distribute food. And it's been really fun getting to know Sarah better and her girls. So that's kind of a positive thing. And I see more of my neighbors out walking in the neighborhood. The last thing I wanted to share is that in addition to our weekly food pantry, Catholic Charities has chosen our church as the East County Distribution Center for Catholic Charities. So we actually kind of have 2 food pantries going on at once. Now, with Catholic Charities, you can go to their website, and there's an emergency food distribution tab, and you have to sign up ahead of time to get food from them. To come to me on Tuesday, you just show up. People just show up. If you know anybody that needs food, you can send them over. But for Catholic Charities, you have to sign up ahead of time. And Anne, I'll send you all the information, and you can send it out to people. You don't have to be Catholic, it's anybody in the community, and they will deliver the food. So you can sign up for a free delivery of, this will be non-perishable food, and which will really help anyone that who's a senior, who's stuck at home and can't go out shopping. We will deliver the food to them. And this, I'll give you the information, but I think they're going to be open Tuesday through Thursday from 10 to 12. So we've got a lot going on over at St. John's, and then let's see. Tomorrow is Holy Thursday, and our service. And isn't today Passover? I think today is Passover. Tomorrow is, so happy Passover, anyone who celebrates Passover. We all need to be celebrating Passover, frankly. Tomorrow is Holy Thursday, and that service is at 7 p.m. on our Facebook page, if anybody wants to join in that. And then Friday, our Good Friday service is at 3 p.m. on our Facebook page. Saturday is our Easter Vigil, and that's at 8 p.m. because it has to be dark before we start the Easter Vigil. And if you've never seen or participated in a Catholic Easter Vigil, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful service. It's going to be kind of different without any people there, but we'll all be praying in our living rooms. And then Easter Sunday, our services will be at the regular time, 10 o'clock English, 12 o'clock Spanish, 5:30 English, and 7 p.m. in Spanish. So, and then praying, I'm just pray that we all stay healthy, and if we are sickened by this, that we're one of the ones that get through this, because I can't imagine losing anybody in this group. You guys are all such wonderful people. So that's all I have.
So Jennifer, all those services you spoke of, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Saturday, Easter, and Sunday, those are all on your website?
Facebook.
Those are all on the St. John's Facebook. Okay.
St. John's Facebook, yeah. Live recordings. And if you miss it, you can go back. And I think you said Brian's there. He's doing a service at 10 on Facebook also. So sometimes, don't tell my pastor, Brian, but sometimes I jump back and forth.
Your secret's safe with us.
Okay.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for all that information. I typed it up in the chat room, and then as Jennifer said, we'll try and get an email out to as well to everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, Jennifer. A lot going on there. Okay, next on my little live videos is Lydia. So I don't know, Lydia, if you are at a place where you are able to unmute and just give us an update on how the city's going and how you're doing. I imagine you are sheltering at home, but I don't know.
I'm on. No, we're working.
Okay.
City Hall's open and we're working. So I'm Lydia Romero. I'm the city manager for the city of Lemon Grove. And no, City Hall is fully functional. We're all essential workers, and we have to continue to make sure that the city functions. So we have our public works staff that are out there continuing filling potholes and especially in this storm, making sure that there's no flooding. Working on all of the storm issues that they work on during this time frame. Our firefighters are working. Our the sheriff's deputies are working. So we're what you consider essential employees. And in this crisis, what the city has done is we've got an information page up on the city's website. So if you go to our actual website page, which is lemongrove.ca.gov, right on the home page, you click on the COVID-19 page. And what we're trying to do is collect all the resources, both from the federal, state, local, regional, that we will put up on the website that we want to make sure that our residents have access to. So what I can do is I'll send the link to Anne and she can send it out. So if you know anybody, and I'm pretty sure almost everybody's connected out either by a smartphone or by computer, we have all of the information on there. One thing I want to share is if anybody in your congregate thinks that people are violating the stay-at-home order or any of the other county orders that are in place region-wide, they can call 211. There is a deal with the sheriff's departments to and other law enforcement jurisdictions to report those crimes. They're not 911 crimes, but 211 will then dispatch it to the agency that the violation has happened. So if you see somebody at the beach when they're not supposed to be at the beach, you see somebody moving the barricades of the park to park in the park, those are violations that should be called in. We have gotten several calls for Little Darlings. So I just want to say Little Darlings is closed. We've had long conversations with the property owner. They have shut down. They're a non-essential business. However, Quality Towing, which is next door, has stayed in the parking lot. So they're parking all their cars over there. The Sheriff's Department responds to at least 2 calls a day, and the owner has assured us that it's locked down. So if you hear that in the community that Little Darlings is operating, it's not. It's just Quality Tow parking their cars there. Because again, they're an essential business they're working on. And if you could help pray for, especially our public works workers who are out there every day talking to folks, our firefighters who have to respond to those that are in need of aid, especially our paramedics, and then individuals, they're out there doing their job in the midst of this virus.
Wow, thank you so much for that. I just found the info page last night, and it's packed full of things. So that's excellent. And anything we can pray about for you, Lydia, personally?
Oh, just you know, that we'll get through this and come out on the other end stronger and a stronger and a better community. So that's what I wish for. And we do update the page almost on a daily basis. We have folks, I'm working almost 7 days a week at City Hall monitoring the emergency. So we're trying to make sure that the information is real time and it is effective for everybody.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for letting us in on what you're going through. And we will definitely be holding up your hands as you work nonstop to make sure our city stays safe. And it's good to know about the 211 because I know that there have been people out there calling the direct line to the Sheriff's Department. So that's a good way to help our neighbors kind of be accountable and protect the whole community. So I noticed on the stats I've seen, we only have, 14 cases of COVID in Lemon Grove that I saw. Is that about the number you said?
Yes, and that number gets updated by the county every day. So we have region-wide, you know, in the entire county, we have 14 diagnosed COVID-19 cases. What the county doesn't release, and we're trying to get that information, is was it travel related, was it community related, and not releasing that information yet. So we're working on the county to better understand what's happening in our community. There are communities such as Chula Vista and Carlsbad, which numbers are much higher, and they're really interested in those numbers, so they'll know how to react a little bit better. Additionally, there are 14 deaths in the county, or excuse me, 31 deaths in the county. We don't know where those deaths exist. We don't know if they're in a certain community or not. County, again, is not releasing that information. We hope that they do. This is County Health. We hope that they do, so we are better prepared in the event that we need to reach out to the Clergy Association, and you guys are prepared that we're having a slew of deaths. That's kind of our motivation as city managers countywide, to ensure that we're here for our residents and can offer them the help and services that they need. And then one thing I want to add, our parks are still on a soft closure. What that means is you cannot drive your car there and park in the park. But if you want to get some fresh air and walk around the park, throw a frisbee or a football, you can do that and then leave. But you have to walk to the park because the way our Lemon Grove is, and we have a lot of folks in high dense houses that have front yard or backyard they can enjoy. I thought it was important that we keep some semblance of nature available for our residents to be able to go out and do that. They just can't drive, they have to walk. So and our bathrooms are still open, with bathrooms. They are being sanitized daily, twice a day. And our play equipment is still also being sanitized, although depending on this weekend, if the play equipment gets abused, I might have to close that down further. But we, like La Mesa, are doing soft closures of the park.
Wow, that is really helpful information. Because I know some places have had to close their parks. So
yes, because people were and violating the distancing rule, or too many folks. And in fact, early on, we had several parties happen at the park, which makes the deputies uncomfortable of having to do that. So we're trying to make sure that everybody stays safe. There's a reason these are in place. It's not because we want people to stop having fun. We want people to be safe and live.
Absolutely right. Thank you so much for all you're doing and will do. And feel free to call on us again if there's an emergency you needed us to pray. Just send us an email and I'll shoot it out to our list. Or you need.
Thank you.
All right, Lydia, go ahead. You can go ahead and mute your mic. And I have Mike. Oh yeah, you have something else to say?
Yeah, just really, I apologize, and I will listen to the rest of the recording, but I have to jump on because I'm going on to a call with the White House. There's a nationwide call for local communities to find out what's going on with COVID, and this is the first one where the president will be on, so I want to jump on and see what he has to say.
I think that preempts us. You please go ahead and take care of our community. We got your back.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lydia.
Thank you. Everybody have a great.
All right, that was really great to hear from Lydia. So a lot going on, and hopefully she'll get some good information that will be helpful to all of us. So Mike, I have you up next, so thank you for unmuting your mic. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you. I'm Mike Lavish with the Baha'i community. And I'm really glad Lydia was on there and mentioned the essential services, the cities and counties, all our utility workers. I think we have our healthcare workers always in the forefront of our prayers, but it's nice also to remember all the other essential services that are keeping things going, the personal shoppers, the delivery people, everybody that's out there doing things so that we can stay at home and make this all work out. How are we being affected? I think like everybody, just the isolation is It's a bit stressful at times, but I think we're finding ways to stay connected, and I think that's in fact we're actually finding ways to be more connected in a lot of ways. In fact, we're finding that distance, has no bearing on it anymore. We can be easily connected with people all around the country and around the world even, and we've seen that in some of our devotional gatherings where people join in from other countries, and it's really kind of exciting. Just in terms of basic things that might help, we've also, in addition to Zoom, we've downloaded the Duo app. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Duo for face-to-face, two-way communications. It works really well. There's an organization called Imperfect Produce, which will deliver to you. We signed up about a week ago, and our first delivery won't be until April 20th. They're kind of backlogged right now, but they were recommended to us by a friend, and I think that's one of the things. As we stay connected, we're sharing different things that we're finding that are making it easier for us to be at home and live pretty normal lifestyles. We've been part of a senior walking group for the last 2 years, and know that exercise is so important, getting out and getting the fresh air. But also we found through that group is not just the physical exercise, but it is the connectedness that we have. And Ann, when you mentioned that connect was your word for the year, it was, what a perfect word for this year, because we need to find different ways to connect now, and I think we're all being pretty successful in that, and even maybe more so connected than we have been in a long time. We're seeing people that been kind of lost in the woods and haven't come out for a while, and now they're popping up on our Zoom screen. So it's really been wonderful. How can we be praying for us? We have several people in our community who are cancer patients, transplant patients, severely compromised immune system, a lot of elderly, and I think just continuing to pray for those who are the most susceptible to the virus, that we're able to be protected from it and we get through this. But we're so happy to be still connected with the Lemon Grove Clergy Association, and you can be assured of our prayers for you.
Thank you so much, Mike, for that great update. And while we were sitting here, just before you started speaking, on my phone, I got my Imperfect Produce delivery notification that they're delivering today. We just started using them. I love the idea that they go out and take food that would be thrown away, and they box it up and ship it to your door. And there's also a lot of farmers markets. Oh yeah, Mark just added it. The food is thrown away not because it's bad, but because it maybe isn't the perfect shape. I had a sweet potato that looked like a pigeon. It was cute. But I love that idea of not wasting food. And I know a lot of farmers markets are boxing up their food and shipping it, delivering it for people. There's one, anyway, if you just go on to the farmers markets like in La Mesa and North Park, I think some of them are doing that. And I've even run over to Proverbial Farms, and we did a little safe distancing selling of some of Joe and Cheryl's greens from our Lemon Grove Farmers Market when I ran out of some stuff. So there are ways to still stay local and support our local growers. I think that's great. Let's see, next on my list, which Mike, before you go, have you heard from Roberta? Is she doing okay?
Yeah, she's fine. I was hoping she would be on today. She's been participating in some of our other Zoom meetings, but she's been really, I think since we've been at home, she's become, we've all become busier with a lot of other things. And I think with her work in the Historical Society, maybe, that's also causing some additional stress on her calendar. but she's also very involved. She's got a couple children's classes going and some study circles. And so I'm sure we are all in her prayers as well today, but she's doing fine.
Okay, great.
Thanks for asking.
Our regards. All right, next up I have George. George, do you want to give us some updates on yourself and all your ministries and what's going on?
All right. Well, Runyon from City Church Ministries, and we're involved with lots of churches throughout the San Diego region, so kind of seeing a lot of different things happening on different levels. But first of all, I just want you to know that we're praying for you and praying God's grace and his peace be multiplied to you in these times, and whatever the specific needs are that God knows in your situation. But we're grateful that he said he'd never leave us nor forsake us, and that we can boldly say, the Lord is my helper. In him I'll trust. And so we put our trust in his word and receive from the power of his indwelling Holy Spirit for those that have received Christ into their life and are walking close with him. I guess I have to say, in one way that this is affected, had to postpone our trip to Cuba. It was disappointing. We were set to leave, and maybe the day before, my partner and I, we made the decision, yeah, it's probably not the best thing to go. And it turned out to be accurate in the events that followed. So we're looking for God's opening later on in the year, and that it's going to even be better. Instead of doing a conference, we're going to be going to different cities and meeting with pastors that are working together in those cities. And I'm excited about that. We just, I'll say this, that I seem to be busier than I always was, than I had been. So I don't know how that's happening, except I'm saving a lot of gas money. So I'm not having to run out to meetings. Is that right, Jeff? We get to just sit back in our chair and, do the Zoom thing. So anyway, but a lot of situation, but finding a lot of time to be able to write and wait on the Lord, and really I'm finding it to be a time that we need to take advantage, miss the opportunity in the busyness, to miss the time that we could have with him that we might not have other. Let me just say that several things are going on. Number one, we just finished our 40 days of hope that we were doing for California, and that was a success. I mean, we had cities up and down the state of California connected, prayer going on in this state, and people outside the state that wanted to be involved. And then the door opened to Baja. And so we get to go down there, and we actually launched the 40 Days of Hope in Loreto, which is the beginning of the King's Highway, and the mission building all the way up. And one pastor from Tijuana said in his 25 years of going down there, he had never seen anything like this. To have the leaders of the ministerial associations throughout northern and southern Baja come together in unity for the first time, laying down their own agendas, trying to seek the agenda of the Lord. It was absolutely incredible. And I could say a lot more about that, but it was just wonderful. In fact, it was so wonderful, we haven't stopped. We're still putting out the devotions, still doing it. My kind of a spiritual son, Chris Leeper, he's putting that out on a regular basis, and he did just a terrific job of coordinating. And we're praying right now about next year and maybe going global with the 40 Days of Hope during the Lent season. We're just excited about that. Pertinent to the moment, I was asked by the Park Association there on Mount Helix to do the Easter sunrise service. And they have not had an Easter sunrise since the beginning, back in the 20s. And so they were really distressed. What do we do? And so they called, what can we do? So we're going to stream it at 7 in the morning on Sunday. And they said, do you have a family worship team? Well, I said, yeah. My son, who leads worship for Summit, he'll lead. So he's putting some of that together, and we're going to be streaming it to a radio station that that we're connected. And so if anybody's interested in tuning in 7 o'clock in the morning for the Mount Helix sunrise service, it's going to be streamed on it's www.godradio1.com. And GOD means Gospel on Demand, godradio1.com. And you just go, and I think it should just hit listen, and it'll take you to the stream. Or you can go to facebook.com/GOD Radio 1. And there you just hit live video. And you should be able to tune in, which shouldn't have any problem, I wouldn't think. We do a radio broadcast every Sunday night on that radio station. And right now, we're teaching through the book of Ephesians. And we're in timing of everything. It's kind of interesting how timing works out. We're just starting the series on Put on the Whole Armor of God and the issue of spiritual warfare. So I don't know about you guys, but I believe there's a little spiritual warfare going on right now on so many different levels. And I'm really excited about the series. We just started it. And we do a half an hour teaching at 6:30 to 7 Sunday nights. And then we have a live broadcast where we have pastors from around the city come in, and we have a live discussion of the teaching. And so we get an hour's worth of the experience of different individuals and things. And in this case, we're going to be talking about spiritual warfare. And then lastly, let me mention, we had a pastors meeting yesterday on Zoom, our East pastors that meet the first Tuesday of the month. And Foothills has done a lot of research, Foothills Christian Church, a lot of research on a couple of things. One, videoing, and they are just making themselves available. If anybody needs some help in that area for your church, if you'll get a hold of Foothills and get a hold of who's the executive pastor, and they'll be happy to set you up and help you any way they can. And also, if you're looking into the payroll program that they're providing, they've done a lot of research on that and are volunteering to help any church that needs to look into that, and really highly suggesting and encouraging that you do look into that benefit. And so that's basically it. How can you pray? We're doing fine. Becky and I are just doing wonderful, and God is good, and we're just trusting him all the way through this thing. But there are a lot of pastors that are struggling, a lot of different individuals. One pastor I want to mention is Harold Brown, who pastors the East County Traditional Living. And he's battling cancer, and things are kind of in a staying mode, but no change on the prognosis. He just needs our prayers. He's a powerful individual that God has raised up. The ministry there is incredible. And would you just, if Harold comes to your mind, pray for Harold that God's miraculous power would be on him and heal him of this lung cancer condition. Also, Mark Hoffman, who's one of the senior pastors at Foothills, tremendous guy, really has been beneficial in the whole area of youth ministry, outreach in the East County. He's been suffering for a long time, but he's got a particular disease that it's so dangerous because it has to do with the system. So he had his immune system, and so he cannot be touched by this thing. So I'm just asking you to pray for Mark Hoffman, that God's hedge of protection would just be around him. He's really a miracle, because the disease he has should have taken him out some years ago. He's still preaching. He's still doing, but he's not working as much, but just pray for his immune system, okay? And so that's it. And God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you, George. That's a lot. And that is awesome to know that we can do Easter sunrise service. While you're up there in the chilly air in the morning, we'll be watching from the comfort of our living rooms. But that's great. And we'll pass that on to our church members too, as well. That's excellent. I'm sure it'll be beautiful. We'll pray for a beautiful sunrise too. Let's see. I did miss the name of Foothills Church, Christian Church pastor. Executive pastor.
Oh, it's Kevin Miller.
Okay.
Kevin Miller. So just call the church office and ask for Kevin Miller, and tell him what you want to talk to him about. And if you're a church, now that's not open for everybody.
Right.
but that's for if you're a pastor and you're a pastor in church and you need some help in that. Okay.
That's a great resource. Thank you so much, George. All right, let's see who I have next on my little stream here. It looks like Dave Shorey. I think you're up next. You want to go ahead and unmute your mic and share anything that would be helpful in any way we can pray for you?
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, good. I'm wearing headphones, so I don't know how the sound gets picked up. Well, good morning, and I'm David Shorey. I'm the East County Program Manager for the Institute for Public Strategy. And beginning on March the 16th, we all started working from home. And so we, as many of you know, we are funded by the county to do alcohol and drug harm prevention work in East San Diego County. And a lot of that usually involves one-on-one, not one-on-one, but in-person interaction. And so a lot of the work that we've been doing over the last few weeks has been identifying and implementing ways that we can transition that into an online format. And in many ways, surprisingly, here in the 21st century, we've been able to do that. Other ways, it's still work in progress, but we're moving forward. I personally, I think many of you know, or some of you know, that I actually live up in Julian, and people have been asking me how I'm doing, how I'm holding up, and I always have to answer that, frankly, I'm a bit privileged to be living up here, where social distancing is more the norm than the exception. I get to go out on our property and walk around and see the beauty of the world, and so I take every day as a blessed day, as a day of honor and privilege. And even with the rain coming down, and we had some snow, a dusting of snow last night, I'm very thankful to be alive, and I keep those who are struggling with this because of either being directly affected or just the overlay of how our society has changed in my heart. So IPS has been a couple of things I want to share. IPS has been sharing resources and information, both at the county level, sharing the county website, the East County Assist, ecassist.org is also originally a website that was started by the East County Homeless Task Force, and it is continued to be updated with pertinent information about COVID-19, as well as community resources ranging from shelter to food to all that. And then there's also another resource list that I've been sending out, which was a community-based list. And I can send these to you to send out, but it's a community-based list that was started very early and focused on the entire county of San Diego, and it's contributed to by the community. So if someone has a resource, they can go on there and add it. If they have a website or a contact, they'll add it. And so it's grown in size, but it's very extensive. And what I liked about it was that since it's countywide, it shows both resources for individuals, resources for groups and organizations, etc. So I will make sure that gets out. One of the things that I want to quickly talk about is, as we are experiencing a change in our routine and a change in just the normality of what we're used to, obviously it contributes to issues of stress, depression, We have folks who are furloughed from work. We have folks who are, don't even know maybe where they're going to be in a month or two. And so one of the things that I know that you all in your communities do this, and we are working to do it too, is to talk about and be open about mental health, to talk and be open about issues of how people might be self-medicating, whether it be, I need a drink in the afternoon to calm my nerves. I need, to smoke some marijuana or take an edible, or and then also issues of domestic violence, which we are seeing some increases in. There are issues with folks being confined together, and folks, acting out because of stress, depression, or even situations where the abuser is now confined with their abusee in a way that had not been previously. So I'd encourage you all to kind of be aware of that. Have conversations about it if you suspect something. All the county services, whether it be courts, sheriff's, mental health, etc., are still functioning, and resources are available. And I encourage you all to keep those conversations in mind. And then, we are moving into a period, and I'll just be perfectly blunt, where we're going to see a lot of deaths. And I know that many of you are in a situation where you are providing counsel and support to those who are both dying and have those who have died. And I think the thing I want to say too is, remember that your self-care is as important as the care that you give to the community. You have given your life to the service of God, but at the same time, in order for you to be able to do that, you need to be healthy, you need to be well, you need to be present. And so I encourage you all to do what you need to do for self-care, take time out for reflection, meditation, counseling, working on your physical health, your emotional health, etc. So this entire epidemic rests on all of our shoulders, and not just any one individual shoulders. And so please reach out, speak up, be there for each other, but also be there for yourself. And one of the things that I'd ask you to pray for is just that, and I say this to add some levity to is that I don't gain too much weight while I'm stuck in the house raiding my fridge. But this is going to this experience is transforming our society. It's transforming how we interact with each other. In many ways, good. And so I just ask that you pray for me and for all of us, that we have the grace and the vision and the and I don't use this word lightly, the luck to get through this in the best way that we can. And with that, I'll pass. Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you, Dave. I think we all share that that same temptation to make trips to the fridge, right? It's easy to eat when you're at home. And one of the things I've been struggling with is trying to make time to get outside and exercise. I need to be, that's one of my goals, is to get a schedule where I got to get out there. It's so easy to just get stuck in front of this computer I declared Monday Zoom free day because I was just like, I was zoomed out. but I am so grateful for this platform to be able to see all of your faces and hear your voices, just to now be thinking of Dave out and Julian and Jeff and Crystal with their new grandbaby. It's just really awesome. So Sarah, you're up next on my video screen. So go ahead and unmute your mic. And
Hey,
yeah, good to see you.
thank you for all the information everyone shared. I have a few things to say. I'll try to be quick. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. It was so nice to go to the food bank and help with my girls. We went 2 Tuesdays, yesterday and the week before. It was actually an answer to a prayer. I was praying that I would just find ways to serve, and I was blessed with and then I had the thought, oh, I should email Jennifer and see if she needs help. And she just said needed help, that, she was just going to reach out. So it was a total blessing, and my girls loved it. My little Joy, who's 11, was signing everyone in with her mask and her gloves on. And me and the girls sewed masks. They helped me sew the masks, and they were excited to wear them. So it was really fun. Also, I had the thought of picking lemons. We have this huge lemon tree. So me and the girls picked lemons last week, and we put them in bags and delivered them to neighbors, just so people could feel loved. And we put a little note that says, when life gives you quarantine, make lemonade. So that was fun. And I think we had about 15 bags of lemons, and the girls had a blast. So just little ways to serve. I was able to go grocery shopping for Helen Oldfield and Roberta Bowling because I know they're older, and I just offered and they took me up on it, which I was really grateful to help. So last week I shopped for 2 people, which was a blessing. So just finding little ways to serve has been a blessing to me. I found a link on a Union Tribune article at the Rock Church in Point Loma. I think they are still needing help for volunteers. There were like 300,000 masks that the elastic had expired. And so they're having volunteers. I went on Monday, and I pulled we just had to take the masks and pull all the old elastics out. They have people tying knots on elastics and stapling them back. They're doing like 5,000 masks a day. They're doing 2 shifts. I think they still need volunteers. You have to be well, not have traveled, and be over 18 to go. And you have to wear a mask while you're doing it. So that was a really nice way. They're gonna get the masks finished, and then they're giving them to the county health department. The county health department has to actually quarantine them for 14 days before they can be used. So the sooner they get that done, the better. And I think you have to just go to the Rock Church website and register. So that was a super cool thing to do. For my family, we're doing really well. My husband has been working from home for a month, which is pretty seamless because he's a software guy. I'm blessed to not have to work, so I can really focus on the kids and keeping them on a good schedule. So my 4 are here, and then my oldest is 18, and he's living with his grandparents in Utah. And he actually came home yesterday. We were worried about him working and living with my parents, and he actually thought he had been exposed through a coworker. So we started driving home, but then we found out that his coworker actually was negative, so he had not been exposed. But we still decided to have him home. So he's home for 2 weeks. So while he's here, we're gonna really quarantine and not see anyone. So that way, when he goes back, he will definitely be safe, and my parents will be safe. But he's still working. He's an electrician's apprentice in Utah. So I have all my 5 kids here now, which is nice. It's nice to have each other. We have a schedule. We do study time in the morning, and then after lunch, we go outside. And I found some great places to take the kids that are outside and beautiful, but really where no one else goes. So it's really safe. So that's been a blessing. It's been so beautiful this year, and the weather's been really nice. That's another tender mercy. Let's see, what else did I want to say? So for our church, we haven't done too many Zoom meetings. We are going to actually this Easter Sunday work more on that. My husband is bishop, so he's been definitely in touch with the ward leadership, the congregational leadership. We're touching base with all members. He's doing a lot of welfare. He's the one who makes the welfare decisions. So people call him, need help with rent, food. He's making sure everyone has food. So he has been helping with people who have lost work, and going to the church to cut checks and deliver the checks, that kind of thing. So that's been a blessing. We've been getting phone calls for people needing help, and that's a blessing. For our worldwide church, every April and October, we have a planned general conference where we get to hear from apostles and prophets in our entire church. So it was actually really nice. We had our general conference over last Saturday and Sunday. And for me, that's it feels normal because we do it twice a year. So it was kind of nice to have a way to worship that felt normal for me. They have it in a conference center that holds like thousands and thousands of people. This time they broadcast from a little tiny conference room where all the people were sitting up 6 feet apart, socially distancing, with just a handful of people in the room and pre-recorded music from the choir. So it was a different experience, but it was a huge blessing to be able to, listen and in a way that was familiar and hear messages and worship together. Another thing my family's done is our church is encouraged to have church in our homes with our families. And so we've had some Zoom church meetings with my parents and with aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters. So that's been fun to have some worship with family over Zoom, which has been really nice. One thing I do want to share, let's see, what else did I have to say? One thing I do want to share is our prophet, our church leader, called for a worldwide day of fasting and prayer on Good Friday, this Friday, which I thought was a beautiful way to kind of kick off the Easter weekend and celebrate Good Friday. So we're inviting anyone who wants to join with us for a worldwide day of fasting and prayer. Specifically, our prophet mentioned to pray for that the present pandemic may be controlled, the caregivers protected, the economy strengthened, and life normalized. So our traditional fast is 24 hours or 2 meals, or any kind of sacrifice that your health permits. So we're going to be participating in that, which will be fun. We'll be home with the kids. I'm asking the kids, what kind of fun things can we do on Friday as we fast and pray and to kind of keep the spirit in our home. So that's going to be a new thing. We do fast once a month. Traditionally, our church does, and we give the money. We get the money we would have paid for those meals. We give to our welfare, to the poor. But that's always on a Sunday. So fasting on a Friday is going to be kind of a new thing. But I'm excited, and so I actually have a little graphic I can send, and that talks about that. You can share. And there's a Facebook page I saw about the Worldwide Day of Fast, and there's lots of people from all over the world and different religions that are wanting to join together in that, which I thought was really beautiful. So otherwise, we're doing really well. I'm a kind of a schedule mom, so we keep the kids on a schedule, and every night is movie night when you're in quarantine. So so we're doing pretty well. I feel very blessed. We have a home that's large enough that we can all have our own space, and my husband can pretty seamlessly work from home and keep the income going. So I feel blessed, and I feel every day that the sun is up, we can go out. So we're going to get through this, and I think I'll have my oldest in here for 2 weeks, and he'll probably go back and continue to work because he's actually an essential worker, and they're allowing them to still work. So thank you. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes. Wow. Good resources there. I tried to catch everything. Let me see if I can I'll hit enter in the chat room. See if I captured most of that. Thank you for letting us know about the fasting on Good Friday. I didn't mention at the beginning, I did in the email, that of course our crosswalk has been canceled. We thought about trying to find some interesting way to do it online or encourage people to go out. We just couldn't come up with anything that was really realistic. But I did see a picture of somebody who put a cross out in front of their house and decorated it as a suggestion for Good Friday. So we might do something like that. But I also wanted to mention, I did watch the Rock Church online, and I saw that they were doing the thing with the masks, taking off the old elastic and tying it on. And that's such a great project. I'm glad you're able to do that. And they also mentioned, Pastor Miles mentioned Unite 7:14, which is based on 2 Chronicles 7:14, humbling ourselves and turning to God in prayer. And so the movement is that at 7:14 a.m. and 7:14 p.m., everybody just stops and says a prayer, and they send out prayer, I think weekly prayers. So there's a website called Unite 7:14 if you're interested in that kind of a thing, where you can encourage people to just pause twice through the day and join in prayer. And that might be something good for you with your family, Sarah, on Good Friday while you're fasting, to just stop and pray. And they have different prayer prompts on their website, which is awesome. Okay. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, I forgot to mention in our update that, we're camp directors. We've been running camp for, this would have been our 19th year out in Pine Valley, an hour east. And our denomination has canceled camp, all of our camps around the nation. And so it was supposed to be our final year. This was our final camp. We were going to close down the camp and move to neighborhood camp model and focus on Lemon Grove. And we ended up having to cancel our final camp. So we're done being regional camp directors, where we take kids away for a week at a time. And we're going to start focusing now on our efforts to reach out to youth in Lemon Grove and do more day camp models and neighborhood camps. So that's been a big change for us, because right now we would be in full camp mode, recruiting, training staff, and that kind of thing. So that's been a big change. Okay, so let's see, who do I have next on here? It looks like I have Pastor Brian. Pastor Brian, good to see you.
Hello, everybody. How you doing today? Pastor Brian with Engage Community Church. How am I being affected by this shelter-in-place order? I'm going nuts. I gotta be honest with you. I am an outdoors kind of person, and being trapped in the house this whole time it's driving me nuts. But at the same time, I'm watching people comment on social media about how they've got all this extra time to do things. I'm busier than I've ever been. I'm absolutely busier learning the technology. And I'm a technology guy. I was a computer programmer for 20 years. So technology and I get along, but still having to do all the things, producing videos and pumping it out on social media. And I don't have enough time in the day. So that's been the big deal for me as far as how I'm affected by shelter-in-place order. My wife she works with the chronically mentally ill. She's a licensed clinical social worker, and a lot of the homeless are being moved to the San Diego Convention Center, and she's possibly going to volunteer to go down to support that effort. So that's what I need prayer for, because she'll be exposed to a lot of people. And we definitely want to be praying for that. As far as information or resources to share with the group, I think pretty much everybody shared everything that I would be able to share. So I miss everybody. I miss you all, being able to see you face to face. I miss my sister Joyce, who's going to talk in a little bit. But this is not being able to actually be in the community and ministering to people. That's been tough. But here's the bonus, though. We are reaching people we would have never reached before. And I'm rejoicing over that. We have literally, on our Sunday services, we're doing 2 services now online. And our congregation, I've trained them now to be online hosts, and they're interacting with people during the worship service. It's really an incredible thing. We've got people in New York and Tennessee and Texas, just literally all around the nation, and a couple of people, from Germany and Croatia and Bosnia, Kosovo, tuning into our broadcast. So it's really been kind of cool. That part's been really cool, being able to reach out to people all over the place. So we're doing all right. We are doing a Good Friday service online. It probably won't be up to the same degree as your basic Catholic Good Friday service, but we're going to do something that's meaningful. I'm not fighting the quarantine 15 like Dave, because I've actually been fasting. I've been on a vegetable fast since February 25th, and this week I'm fasting. It's just water this week, so I'm not fighting that. I encourage you all, like Sarah did, pick a day this week and fast. Seek God, seek Him, because I'm absolutely convinced He's working in this time. And the benefit of what we're going through here, and we should not miss this, God is stripping away all of our distractions, and He's forcing us to concentrate on Him. Don't let this time slip away without recognizing that He's taking these things away from us so that we could see the one and only thing that's important, and that is His presence. That is His identity as our Savior and as the one who sent His Son to die for us so that we could know Him and be in relationship with Him. Don't let that slip away, because and if I could get real for a second here, the chances of contracting COVID-19 are very, very low when you look at it numerically. However, 1 out of 18 who contract it pass away. So it's highly dangerous. And there's no time more important than right now to know that your eternity is secure. So just make sure that you know, and that the people you know this. The grace of God in Jesus Christ is that whosoever believes in him shall not die, but have eternal life. And that's really what I think people are needing to hear right now. So I'm done preaching. I'm a preacher, so that's what I do. But it's really important. It's really important that people know that this is not the end, and that faith determines what happens on the other side of this. So be well, everyone, and keep the faith.
Amen. And for our closing song, just kidding. Love you, Brian. That's great. Thank you for your words.
And we're going to pass the plate now. No.
Exactly. That's great. Oh, and so Brian, I didn't hear you say what time your Good Friday service was, and I imagine it's on Facebook Live, but do you have a time for that?
Yeah, 7 p.m. on Friday night.
7 p.m. Awesome. Okay. I just typed all that in the chat room. So, and I will just take the notes that I've typed up in the chat room and send those out as well if you aren't catching everything that's on here. And I thank you all. I've been getting texts and different messages, different places. So all the different things that you're sending me are really awesome. So what a great group. Joyce, you're up to bat. If you want to unmute your microphone and give us a little update on how you're doing and how we can pray for you. I got Leanna after that, and I think that's it.
Okay, so I want to say, Pastor Brian, you echoed my thoughts and my feelings. If I would say use one word to what's going on and where I believe the Lord have us now is realignment. Because in our daily lives, in our regular lives, I'm going to even go as far as in our past lives, we're so busy. And I have to say that I am busy from the time that I get up until the time I go to bed, and I'm a late person. I am super busy. But I am Joyce, and most of you all know what I do and what have you, and how I am being affected and how I have been affected is one of Thrive's long time years of service to Thrive and to the board passed on 2 Fridays ago, and that is Pastor Peyton. And he passed in his sleep. I was blessed to be able to talk to him that Friday, and had talked to him about doing a workshop for our leadership group and Thrive in the garden. And he's just been such a help in so many ways. The man was, with all of his credentials, PhD'd, and I mean political influence. He came here from Chicago about almost 20 years ago, and he supported us in ministry. He supported Thrive. I was trying to remember if there ever was a time that we had something that he wasn't there, and I could not track it back to where he wasn't there. I remember when we had our candlelight service, he was there. I was trying to find a picture of he and Jim. And even when I was working with IPS, they came to me, they needed a sector leader, faith-based, and I recommended him, and he served up until the time that he transitioned. So I say that he laid down Friday night and he just slept right on into heaven. So with that being said, like you said, Pastor Brian, for us, we just need to make sure that we're ready, because we don't know the day or the hour or the time. And a young man, just 1 year younger than me, because he had just turned 64 in January, not sick, nothing wrong with him. But I would say that man had done so much that he went to heaven empty, because he gave everything out that he had to his ministry, to his children. He groomed two wonderful boys. One of his sons, Pastor Brian, was the young man who did the Martin Luther King speech at the last event that we had. The other one was the one that had to cancel, that was going to do what we would call rap, but it is so much higher than rap. And he was overbooked, and they are wonderful, absolutely wonderful young men. Brandon is the youth pastor at the Rock Church. They came to him and hired him about 6 months ago. And I'm going to combine how we can be praying for you with number 2. Also, last Monday, I lost my cousin, and this was totally unexpected. We don't know how she contracted the virus, and she's 68, a young 68, healthy, so it can hit anybody. And she contracted it, and she was gone within a week. Totally, we did not understand. I didn't even know it. I did not expect that. I was totally shocked. So I had 2 shockers that was devastated me, actually, because I did not expect either of them. I was expecting last Friday to have a Zoom meeting like we're having now and having the leaders on, and for Pastor Peyton to do a workshop. And so, yeah, we've been hit. And this morning, I got a call from my brother-in-law where they were rushing my 85-year-old mother-in-law to the hospital because her blood pressure had dropped. And so I'm very concerned about that because, as you know, the ERs are really overwhelmed right now, and she's 85 years old. So those are the things that I would ask you, to pray for Pastor Peyton's family, his wife, his sons, their church. He was an associate pastor at Grace Church down on Clay Street in San Diego, and the Tatum family, and also my mother-in-law. And I post a lot of information on Thrive because I get information from a lot of the providers who attend the Lemon Grove Collaborative. And so I try to keep that updated. And I still have a lot of more things that to be posted. But if you have something that you want to post, want to send to me to post out, I'll be happy to do that. And so I'm just asking that, we just keep one another in prayer. And I think this is a time too that we can be creative with what we have. We can stop functioning one way, but find a way to function another way. So we can't gather in a meeting place, but we can still gather because we have so much technology that is available to us. I had to cancel, we had a women's empowerment that was coming up on the 5th Saturday, and we had to cancel that. So we are now rescheduling that to do it through Zoom. And so I think this is just an awesome opportunity that we can just keep going. We might not be face to face, but there's an opportunity where we can keep going. And I just want to encourage everybody. I kind of been slacking this week, the first 3 days, but my husband gets out every morning and does it 5 miles, and sometimes he does 10. And I'm going to get out today. I usually do 5 around from my house, and I make a circle all around Lemon Grove, and I come back down. That's 4 miles actually. So I'm going to get out today. And it feels so good because for me, it ends up being a prayer walk. And I tell you, it's pretty powerful. I enjoy it. So make the best of it. And the one thing that I will share, I have an awesome nutritionist, and what she shared with me is to continue to build your immune system now. Build your immune system, make yourself strong. And so with that, I miss everybody. I'm so glad that Ann moved forward and did the Zoom. And thank you, everyone. Be safe, be well, and let's respect, what the higher up are asking of us. I know it may be difficult, but it's not going to last always. And we're going to come out of this a stronger people.
Amen and amen. Joyce, sorry for your losses. That's a lot to take in. I didn't know if Pastor Peyton had died from COVID, or was that just a natural death?
A natural death.
Natural death. And I'm so sorry for the loss of your cousin. That must have been just shocking.
My first cousin. It was. Well,
the last person I have on my list is Leanna. and she left. Did she leave? Oh, she might have had to go. Maybe
She just came back.
Oh, she just came back on. So there's Leanna. Oh, and there's her beautiful daughter. Hi, Helene. That's her partner in crime. So I'm going to unmute you, Leanna. There you go. You're unmuted. So go ahead and just share with us what you've been up to. I know you have probably stayed just as busy because I don't think you can sit still. So share with us how we can pray for you and just what's going on with your world. Oh, I don't know. Is your microphone on?
It's unmuted.
I unmuted you. Is your microphone on? Get your daughter up there. She'll help you. You know how that goes. Okay, I don't hear you. Oh man, that's a bummer.
Did she join with Mike? Maybe, 'cause she
Well,
just came
it's
back on.
so when you enter the meeting, Leanna, I know this is one of your first times using Zoom. It will ask you to join using computer video or computer audio and video, and you have to say yes to both of those. If you click the little arrow down by your microphone icon, the little carrot, you might be able to select a microphone.
It's usually the top one.
Yeah, it's possible maybe her mic isn't set up, which would be such a bummer. Is your chat room open? Maybe you can just type your
It is
updates
working. Her chat room
and
she's doing it on chat. Yeah.
we can read them out loud for you if there's anything you want to say. The other thing you could do is grab your phone and enter the Zoom that way too. But I think
While she's working on
I'm
that.
sure Leanna has been out there helping the Lions Club with Jennifer. I'm pretty sure I saw the Lions Club out there, and I couldn't. Jennifer, do you know, has she been out there helping you with food bank?
Yeah, it was kind of funny because I know I think Leanna is doing daily walks, still picking up her trash, but social distancing. And I had sent a message that I needed some help one day, and she and a few other Lions members were out on a walk, and so they all walked over to the church and helped me unload. So yeah, she's still out there doing her thing. If you're driving, if you're out and about, you'll probably see her out walking around the community picking up trash.
Awesome. Thank you, Leanna, for doing that. And I know you've also got your daughter at home, so you're probably homeschooling as well. So we'll work on Leanna's mic, trying to figure out, maybe you can stay on afterwards and we'll see if we can, it says connecting to audio. Let's see. It's trying. We can see that your computer's trying.
How does she have those bars in her lower left that I don't see in anybody else's?
I don't know. Well, I'm sorry, Leanna. I don't want to end the meeting without hearing from you. Is there anything you want to add just in your chat room that maybe I could read out loud to the whole group? She looks so sad, doesn't she? She looks frustrated and sad.
She has a ton to share. Maybe
She does have a ton to share.
Maybe she exits and goes back in. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what. Pastor Brian, would you mind closing us out in prayer? And Leanna, if you want to exit out and come back in maybe and try reconnecting to the audio, just in the meeting with the little red
and then
words in the meeting, come back in, and then
we'll capture hers and send it out.
Okay. Bye, Mike. Mike needs to go. So good seeing you. Thank you for being here. So if you want to exit out and come back in, I'm going to have Brian go ahead and close us out in prayer, and then we can stay on and try and help you. I can call you and we can try and figure out what's up with your audio. So thank you, Brian, if you wouldn't mind doing that.
Father, what a privilege it is to meet together with your people, even in this time. This morning I read how great it is when brothers meet together in unity. And that's what we did today. So Jesus Christ, we are praying that your grace would extend to our friends and family, that the disease that we're facing here, we know that you are Lord of all things and that you can cast out disease. And we are asking you to do that right here and right now. Lord, keep us all safe. And may your word go forth. May your grace go forth. May people respond to the forgiveness that you give, that you gave on the cross, freely, without condition. And that Jesus Christ, you would be glorified in this time. I thank you for the opportunity that you're giving us to reach people that would never even come into a church. And Lord, I pray that because of that, thousands, hundreds of thousands would know that you are Lord and Savior. Bless all the people in this meeting. And I was going to say send us out, but don't send us out. Just make us effective for your kingdom, Lord. It's in your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Don't send us out. Send us out safely if we do go out. Thank you all for being here. What a great chance to see everybody's faces, and just keep lifting up our city as they continue to work. And Jennifer, are you all doing Zoom city council meetings, or what's going on there with the city in that way?
Yeah, we had a meeting last night, and we approved our climate action plan. We have a couple changes that we're going to make before the end of June. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Was asking if we could hear her, but still can't hear her.
Oh.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so we approved our climate action plan, and at the suggestion of the Planning Commission, because it went to them first and then came to us. So we're very excited about that. Our next meeting, it's these Zoom meetings are kind of tough when you're used to having all your colleagues. Well, I mean, even now we're used to all sitting in a room together and really visiting with each other. It's just kind of a different thing. And so it was a little different experience last night to have a council meeting on Zoom, but we're getting all the bugs worked out. And we will have another meeting in 2 weeks. And I'm thinking the month of May is going to probably go the same way. So please join us on Zoom if you can in 2 weeks, which would be the 21st of April at 6 p.m.
Hey, that's my birthday.
Well, what you don't have anywhere else to go, right?
Yeah, I was wondering, if this is going to open up different ways of us connecting even beyond our quarantine. Like, there's something to be said about, being able to connect with people who are homebound and that kind of thing, being able to see faces. And we're getting all of our elderly people set up on Zoom, and it's just great. Like, one of our young adults ordered a microphone and mailed it to one of our seniors who has a desktop with no mic and no video, and it's getting them set up. And so I just think, we're going to change. I think our churches will change, our community will change, and maybe some of these things will be things that we'll hang on to for a while. Like, maybe we can still have the council meetings, broadcast over Zoom or something, so that more people can be informed. I don't know, but we will send that out too. I'll try to, I get all my notes get sent to me in a file, so I will try to remind people that they can join on. I guess the link would be on the website. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great.
It'll be when the agenda is posted. At the very beginning of the agenda, it lists the Zoom link.
Okay.
And then the city clerk will let you in. Yeah.
Okay, great. Awesome. I know there was a problem with Zoom bombers, so they had to start giving passwords out for Zoom meetings and things because people were jumping in and bombing meetings. But
yeah, I don't even want to tell you what that experience was like. It was horrible.
Absolutely. Oh, you guys had that happen?
We had a meeting a week ago, and it was before we had figured out all the bugs, and we had some very
bad, nasty,
bad stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think
anyway,
some,
I don't want to relive.
no,
I don't
don't
want to relive that experience.
Well, they've actually,
Yeah.
some schools have pulled out of using Zoom because of that, because of the children that, you know, it's just some of those images they put out there. You can't get that out of kids' heads. So that's really,
Yeah, and Zoom has changed their procedures a little bit, so that's not happening now. So it's a little safer. I think we're a little more protected.
well, thank you all for coming. Feel free to pop off if you need to get off to something, your 5-mile walk or your refrigerator or whatever's next for you today. You've inspired me, Joyce. I'm going to get out there today. So, bye-bye. And I'm going to stay on with Leanna just to see if we can help her.
David's hugging.
Oh, David's giving us a hug. Oh, thanks, David. Virtual hugs too.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye, everybody.